What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody can hear and see me okay. If you can, please type into the chat there. If you can see me, you should see a guy with golden glasses wearing a big furry coat. If you see a guy with golden glasses wearing a big furry coat, then you know you're in the right place. That's all I'm going to say. Love to know where everybody's dialing in from. I see Ola. So somebody's dialing in from Mexico or South America or Spain. Where is everybody else dialing in from? Let me know. So far, I've only got one visitor commenting. I need to hear from you guys. There we go. What's up, everybody? I'm going to leave just like 2 or 3 minutes for people to flow in. And then we'll get into this. We're talking today about ranking on Amazon in 2025 and launching using Amazon PPC. We're also going to get into some pretty cool hacks for click-through rate and conversion as well. We're talking about keyword research. You're going to go through the whole process on that. It's going to be pretty exciting. This is really an awesome session. And it's a good way to kick off the new year, or I'll say end off the old year, we'll say. Cool. I see people dialing in from Chile, Italy, Miami, St. Louis Obispo, SLO. I'm a big fan of SLO. I did a motorcycle trip up the California coast and spent some time in SLO. Love it. Love it, guys. Right on. All right, we're going to start in just a minute here. Nigeria coming in, Vancouver. What's up, guys? What's up? This is going to be really fun. It's going to be pretty intense. So I definitely recommend if you're dialing into this, I'm going to be going through probably the equivalent of 3 or 4 sessions or courses all at once during this. So I'd recommend you just close off any other tabs, put your phone upside down and really pay attention, because if you actually listen to this, you're going to have a leg up on everyone in 2025 for all of you that are actually selling, that is. So yeah, let's rock and roll. I'm about to start it up here in just a minute. Just going to leave 1 more minute for people to jump in. And then we will get rocking and rolling, guys. All right. I think it's time to start this up. People can start flooding in at their own pace. So let's get going. All right. Just going to make sure that everybody knows that I'm live here and they can dial in themselves. Cool. All right, guys. So as you know, we're talking about ranking and launching on Amazon using PPC in 2025. And we're doing it in a fur jacket because there's no rules, right? We're all business owners. We can dress and do whatever we want. So we're going to have fun with it today, but I'm going to talk really fast like an auctioneer sometimes. So if you miss something, we're going to do a little bit of Q&A session with this. And also, I'm going to be super active in the comments here. And when people comment on this video after we post the replay, I'm going to be active in there, like responding to comments and stuff. So don't worry if you don't catch something or you need some kind of clarification. It'll happen one way or another. Plus, I'm going to give you a way to contact me. So I'm going to give you my contact and I will respond. Either me or someone on my team will respond to every single person. So just a quick intro. My name is Chris Rawlings. I've founded 5 multi-million-dollar ventures. I'm on my first 8-figure venture right now. And after that, it's going to be my 9-figure venture. I'm excited about that. I'm a 7-figure e-com brand owner. That's how I started owning a brand myself. And then I started building a portfolio of brands. I've now launched over 2,000 products on Amazon.com. I'm an 8-figure mentor in the Titan Network, which I see as the most elite mastermind for Amazon sellers in the space. Love those guys. Big shout out to them. I've been in other spaces as well. I have founded a SaaS company. I also founded a fund called 22X Fund, which is really interesting. That was like a groundbreaking experience. So I've been in a lot of different spaces in business, so to speak, from agencies to funds to e-commerce brands and even manufacturing. So, but right now, my primary focus is Sophie Society, where I partner with brands, take over their PPC, and grow them profitably. And it's my experience with those brands that allows me to make a presentation with you guys like this and do an intimate session with you that's actually based on real data, because this isn't stuff that you're going to read in a blog article somewhere or you see on some YouTube video or a LinkedIn post. This is information I'm giving you guys directly from our portfolio, from our own experience, from our own successes. We've grown over 13 brands past $1 million a month. So we've literally built over a dozen 8-figure brands, and we have built over 100. We've gotten over 100 brands past the 7-figure mark, either taking them on from the get-go or taking them on when they were at the 5 or 6-figure mark. So all that to say, everything I'm talking about, we know what we're talking about here. This is all based on real experimentation, real experience. So this is me, by the way. I'm obsessed with community. This is one of the reasons I love AMZ Scout. The guys at AMZ Scout, they're very communal. They like to collaborate and do things together. This is me and 500 startups. 500 startups. At the time I went through, it was the 3rd most prestigious tech accelerator in the world after Y Combinator and Techstars, which you guys have probably heard of. The acceptance rate is less than Yale and Harvard and Stanford. I went through this program, learned a lot about business that you don't learn in the e-commerce spheres. This is stuff that only like super high growth tech companies use as strategies. And I incorporated some of those and folded some of those into the world of e-commerce, which is part of what has allowed Sophie Society to be so successful. This is me growing up. This is me as a little kid. What I'm holding up there is basically like a piece of cardboard to light it on fire, because what I did was I took a whole bunch of free AOL CDs and I made them into a parabolic reflector that could light anything on fire in a matter of seconds, which you could see my dad fully sanction this. He's as crazy as me. I grew up in an off-grid solar home. I'm only telling you guys all this stuff is because I grew up experimenting myself. So I grew up pretty isolated in the middle of the woods in a government-funded experimental home that my dad was given a grant by the state of New Jersey to build. And I had basically no neighbors. It was just me and my brother building stuff, fixing stuff, taking stuff apart, and learning by doing, which I think is somehow becoming a lost art, probably because you could just look anything up now, on YouTube or TikTok. But I say this just to say that not only to prove to you that all the information that I'm going to explain to you is based on my experience in experimentation, but also to say that I'd like to engender that with others. And I would really encourage you guys to take the same approach, where instead of just copying everything everybody else is doing, coming up with like unique ideas and insights that you can actually test and experiment yourself. And that's where you can find the gems, the golden gems. It's faster to learn from what's working for other people, but it's more powerful to learn what's working by actually experimenting, because you know it works for sure and it's relevant to you. So you got to have a mix of both. Right now, you're going to get some learning from me, somebody who you can trust is actually doing it themselves. Then you're going to take this knowledge and experiment with it yourself to find out what works really well for you. Okay. Oh, and here's another funny little clip of me without a beard. I think I look really weird without any beard hair. But this is a Bitcoin operated beer vending machine that I made in 2014 when Bitcoin was $400 a coin, by the way. No, I didn't hold on to the dozens of coins I had back then. Ugh. I still hate myself for that. But I was a tinkerer. I made this with a Raspberry Pi for any of you guys that are hardware hackers out there. And it accepted Bitcoin, spit out beer. Nowadays, with the transaction fees of Bitcoin, forget it, dude. You wouldn't be able to do this. You'd be paying like $17 just to send your beer payment, let alone the payment itself. So yeah, that's not relevant anymore, but that was fun. Anyways, all that to say, I come from a science background. So I'm not one of these like business marketer guys that you guys are probably used to hearing on these webinars and stuff. I majored in physics. I was always experimenting and building stuff. And now I happen to be experimenting and building in the digital space of e-commerce and Amazon, but I'm still an experimenter, a builder, a scientist at heart. So let's get into it. How has ranking changed? For those of you guys that have been in the space for a couple of years, it's changed dramatically. I mean, it's just from COVID to now, it's been like a complete 180 for how you actually rank. I mean, it wasn't just a few years ago that you could just use a bunch of rebates and rank very quickly with super URLs and search, find, buy flows and all that stuff. Now, the best way to rank is simply to have really good dialed Amazon PPC and to generate good off Amazon traffic. And we're going to talk mostly about ranking and launching using PPC and what strategies still work, what have stopped working, and what are going to work even better in the year 2025. Okay, what is this? What are we looking at here? This is the first 3 full scrolls of Amazon. What you see in blue are the organic results, and what you see not in blue are paid sponsored results. Yes, I mean that. Everything not in blue in these first 3 scrolls is sponsored. You could see, it's ridiculous. Now, not every space is like this, but it is the case that for most categories now in 2024, 2025, most results are sponsored in the first 4 scrolls. And honestly, the first 4 scrolls are the only scrolls that really matter, right? Because very few people actually go far past that. So we're at the point where half or more of search results are sponsored. That's wild. And that's a huge flip from how it used to be, where it was just a couple sponsored results and then the rest was organic. Now, you could say what you want about that, from a values and virtues perspective of Amazon trying to pull every cent from us, but it's just the truth. So knowing that, we need to be able to exploit ads very smartly and very sophisticatedly is that a word? Sophisticatedly, with sophistication, so that we can win and dominate on Amazon. And that is the best way to rank, like I said. So 90 to 100% of above the folds results are sponsored. If you search, and it's usually 100%, if you search any keyword on Amazon.com, you're going to see no organic results before you scroll. So above the fold means before you scroll. So before you scroll, it's 100% sponsored results, that's just wild. About 30% of results are organic after 2 full window scrolls. So that's crazy. This just proves to you that advertising is absolutely critical. Like getting your Amazon PPC dialed is the key to ranking organically on Amazon and to selling your products profitably on Amazon. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it very profitably, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that allows you to get organic ranking spots. Now, I wanted to walk through every single ad type with you guys and how to create it on the back end in like a speed session, but we actually don't have time to do this. So what I'm going to do is each of these is a little moving GIF that shows what the shopper sees as an ad, and then a quick GIF of how to create that ad. And I walk through every single ad type. By the way, there's only 9. So this one, for example, is a top of search headline custom image ad. This one here, that's the headline custom image ad. Then this one here is a top of search video ad, and I show you how to make that. Now, I go through each and every type of ad that you can find on a listing or in search and how to make it. I just don't have time to walk through that and all the launch stuff with you guys today. So what we decided to do was just bundle this up and give you this deck with these moving GIFs so that you could reference it any time. And anytime you go to Amazon, you see an ad and you're like, I wonder how to create that on the back end. You'll know because every single one of them is documented in here. So I'm going to give you my email address at the end of this, and you can just shoot me an email. I'll give you this deck, completely for free. You don't have to do anything for it. I'm just going to send you an email back with this deck so you have it. Okay. What we do have time for is I'm going to give you basically like a 5-minute boot camp on everything you need to know about how to control Amazon PPC. And it's a lot simpler than you think. Now, this is going to apply to those of you out there that are really advanced. It's going to apply to those of you that are maybe intermediate, that have some experience. And it's going to apply to those of you who are brand new, because it really simplifies the whole picture. These blurry squares that you see here, there's 5 squares, and each of these squares represents one type of factor that you can control in your ads. There's only 5 things you can control in the ads. Despite how complex the ad console has gotten and how complicated it looks and how many features they added, there's still only 5 things you can control, and I'm going to walk through them one by one in 5 minutes, one per factor. All right, let's start this. So the first thing that you can control in Amazon PPC is the targeting. What does this mean? Well, there's really only 5 things you can target. You can target another product, i.e. ASIN targeting. You can target keywords with keyword targeting. You could target a whole category with category targeting. You could target an audience in sponsored display or DSP with audience targeting, or you can retarget, meaning you can target people who have already been to your listing or already purchased your products. These are the only 5 ways that you can target. And that's all of targeting right there. Background of this image, you could see, the targeting tab. You see automatic targeting, manual targeting, keyword targeting, product targeting. These are the only 5 types of targeting. Boom. Makes it seem real simple, right? Now let's go on to the next thing that you can control is where they land when they click the ad. There are only 3 places that a shopper can land when they click your ad. One is your product page, your listing. That's the basic that most of your ads are going to have. The other is a custom landing page, which is you choose which products and then Amazon creates a page with just those products on it. And then finally is a storefront or a sub page of a storefront. You can run ads that land any of these 3 places, your listing, custom page, or storefront. Next is the placement. You can have your ad show up top of search, rest of search, or on product pages. And really, those are the only 3 placement types. In the background of this image, you could see the placement modifiers here, top of search, rest of search, product pages. That's where you control, or you have some influence at least. You don't directly control, but you have some influence over which placements your ads show up. These are the only 3 places. So I'm going to show you guys which ones to focus on, how to adjust this, and best practices for placements in this session that we do together. Then there's the creative. So in the creative, either you have no creative at all, and Amazon just uses your primary image and your title as your creative, or you have a custom video, or you have a custom image, or you have that combined with a custom headline. That's it. Simple as that. Makes it way easier, right? And then finally, there's bidding strategies. You have up and down, down only, and fixed. Those are the only 3 bidding strategies. Up and down means Amazon can increase your bid or decrease your bid. Down only means they can just decrease your bid. And fixed means that's your bid. Now, I can look at it. It seems not as complicated, right? All of the complex settings and buttons and knobs and dials inside the Amazon ad console, it really just comes down to these 5 things. And then, of course, you have your budget and your bid. Those are like direct inputs. They're not things that you can control. That's like fundamental to the ads, but it's really just these 5 things plus your budget and your bid. And that's it. As long as you understand the fundamental behind each of these things, and we're going to go through each of these and how to do it, how to set each of these things during your launch right now. All right. So the most effective tool for ranking in 2025 on Amazon is PPC, Amazon PPC by far. There's no close second. It's PPC. That's why it used to be rebates and Google traffic and all this stuff. All of that stuff is either now illegal against terms of service or doesn't work as well as it used to. Now, external traffic still helps a lot for ranking, especially from email lists. So I'm not going to knock that, but everything is secondary to getting your PPC dialed in. That's how you execute a really successful launch in 2025. So I'm going to be focusing more on launch and ranking based PPC rather than normal PPC, and they're not the same. So setting up PPC for a product that's been profiting for a while is very, very different than setting up PPC for a new launch. So we're going to focus on launch PPC during this session, and we'll do another session in the future for how to focus on PPC that's not about launch. Now, here's the steps to a launch. There's literally just 5. First, very deep keyword research. Now, we're going to touch on this today, but we're not going to do the whole session on it because that in itself is like a 2-hour session to really deeply understand how to do keyword research really, really well. But we are going to touch on it. The second thing is click-through rate optimization. And the reason for this is you could drive all the traffic in the world that you want, right? But if they're not clicking on the thumbnail, then they're not getting to the listing. So it doesn't make sense to drive a bunch of traffic until you've optimized the click-through rate. And I'm going to talk to you about how to do that using the data and how to do it up front before you even have data from Amazon from the get-go. Then it's conversion optimization. So again, if I'm driving all this traffic and I'm getting all these clicks because I did my click-through rate optimization, but they're not converting to an actual sale, well, then again, it's all for naught and I am wasting my ad dollars. So that's why the first 3 steps of a launch are before the launch even happens. It's deep keyword research, the click-through rate optimization, and the conversion rate optimization. You know what, guys? As much as I love wearing this fur for you, I am hot. So I'm taking it off. You guys are making me hot. So let's keep it going. Number 4 is rank-focused PPC setup and management. And that's where I'm going to focus a majority of my effort with you guys today, is how to set up your PPC and how to manage your PPC focused on ranking, the outcome of ranking. And then lastly, you use PPC as a feedback loop to continuously improve your click-through rate and your conversion rate, because you have data there that's specific to your product and your brand. And I'm going to show you how to do that and even give you a little rubric so that you could do it on your own at home. All right, a few mindset changes before we get into the actual like campaign structure stuff. PPC in the beginning, you're going to lose money on it. I could say that, with a really high degree of certainty. I would say probably only maybe 1 out of 4 or less, 1 out of 5 or less brands that we launch or products that we launch are profitable like right away. It's very rare. Most of the time you have to put a lot of money into PPC and make a net loss to drive the sales velocity until you get to the break-even point. And we actually have a map for this that we call the Amazon product lifecycle, where there's 3 stages that product can be in on Amazon. It could be in the launch phase, the expansion phase, or the harvest phase. Launch means I'm just trying to get ranking and get profitable. The expansion phase means I'm already profitable. I'm not losing money. I've surpassed the break-even point, but I'm trying to get more market share. And then a harvest phase means I've been on the market for a while. I have lots of reviews. Now I'm just trying to pull profit out of this product as much as possible and not lose ranking. Those are the 3 main phases for a product on Amazon. And we're focusing today on that launch phase. I'm going to show you this map in a second. Secondly, get used to making your decisions based on data. So many Amazon sellers that I assess or coach are just, kind of shooting from the seat of their pants. And they're not making data-based decisions. You want to make decisions that are based in what the data says you should do, not what you feel might be right, because your intuition a lot of times is going to be wrong. And then here's a little lesson or a little rule, which is the more time that passes, the more data you have, but you can circumvent that by trading time for money. So if you spend more on the PPC, you get data back faster, meaning you can act on that data to improve the performance of your launch faster. So you either have to spend time or you have to spend money to get the data back from your PPC that will tell you what to do to improve your PPC. Then, sorry guys, got a little cough there. The goal of this phase is not to generate profit. It's to rank. So again, you're thinking of this as an investment, not a cost. You're investing like you would invest in developing real estate. You're investing in developing this listing that will then cement its spot to constantly get sales and give you cash flow. And that is an investment. So it's not PPC cost. It's I'm investing in PPC to get me ranking, to get me sales velocity, to get me reviews so that I have this asset that produces cash. And that's how you build an 8-figure brand, 9-figure brand on Amazon. Then finally, the 2 metrics you should focus on are units sold and tacos. Literally, you could give me launch metrics and just give me these 2 numbers, and I can tell you everything I need to know about the launch. If you gave me these 2 numbers day by day, week by week, month by month, I know everything I need to know. As long as I know the price of the item, I know everything I need to know about how this launch is doing. So measure these. If you know your margin, you know your price, units and tacos, these are the 2 metrics that you want to track nonstop. Tacos, by the way, means total average cost of sale. That's what is my ad spend divided by what are my total sales. Not what's my ad spend divided by my ad sales. That's ACoS. Tacos is my ad spend divided by my total sales. So what percentage of my total sales revenue am I spending on ads? That's what tacos is. All right, now let's start getting into the nitty gritty. So when we're talking about rank focused PPC, we want to focus pretty narrowly on top of search and rest of search. Product pages can still be helpful And I'm not going to knock it, but because it's not directly connected to a search term, it's not going to have as much of an impact on ranking as top of search, especially, but also rest of search. So you really want to focus on these two placements. The only time you're going to violate, and by the way, if you're a little lost or you haven't done this yet, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this a little bit later on in this little session. But the only time you're going to violate this rule is if you're really stuck and top of search and rest of search are just not working and your ACoS is like absurdly high, but your product page ACoS is good. That means that you're not resonating with the search terms you're trying, but you are resonating with browse-based buyers who are just clicking around. Go for it. If that's the case, focus more on that product pages and just do whatever works. But if you can, you want to focus as much of your effort as you possibly can on top of search and on rest of search. Okay, your goals during launch and ranking. You're going to have 4 main goals: establish rank, get sales velocity, reach profitable TACoS, and collect data, PPC data and customer data. These are your goals during the launch phase. Forget about everything else. So the main linchpin, the turning point of a launch is once you get to the point where your TACoS is no longer higher than your margin. So if my product margin net end of day is 30% after my production fees, Amazon fees, the pick and pack fee, the inventory storage fee, and returns, then I know once my TACoS is below 30%, I'm no longer losing money on this brand or on this product. And that's a turning point because now I know it's sustainable. Okay, I can keep sending inventory in, I can keep running ads, I can keep the sales going, and I'm not losing money. That's when we call it as the end of the launch phase and we begin the expansion phase. But possibly the most important part of this that sounds the least sexy, that's actually what's going to build you a permanent cash flowing asset is this last one here. Collecting data, PPC data and customer data through your search term reports, the search query report, business analytics, and every other data source. We're going to go through some data sources both on and off Amazon during this session, and actually using those to respond to how the customers are actually engaging with your product by improving it, improving the thumbnail, improving the ads, improving the targeting, improving the listing, improving everything. And I'm going to go deeper into this in this session. I also have a ton of content on this on YouTube, by the way. You guys, once you're done with this session, you can click around that and you're going to find a lot more stuff. All right. This Amazon product lifecycle, by the way, I told you guys I'm going to give you my email in this. If you want this, I have a zoomable copy where you could see every stage of the product lifecycle and what metrics are considered good and what metrics are considered bad. What you should expect your TACoS to be, what you should expect your ACoS to be, what portion of your sales should be coming from ranking campaigns versus performance campaigns versus retargeting campaigns, how many campaigns to produce, what to spin them up as, what your thumbnail should look like, how many reviews you should have at each stage. And so right now, I'm only showing you a little snapshot of this, which is the launch phase. And you can see this line down here represents TACoS going down as your launch progresses. And this line up here represents your sales going up as the launch progresses. And this line right here represents the end of the launch where my TACoS now, my unit margin now exceeds my TACoS. My TACoS is less than my unit margin. But you can see during this launch, this might be surprising to some of you guys who haven't done product launches on Amazon, but you can expect your ACoS, meaning your return on ad, the amount of ad spend that you're actually getting back, 50% to 90%. And your TACoS, the portion of your total revenue that you're spending on ads, is going to be between 20% and 50%. And that's just real. I'm telling you guys the real numbers, not sugarcoating it. That's what you can expect. It's very rare for the numbers to be out of these bounds when it comes to launches. I would say it's maybe like 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10 that actually is able to go either below or ends up, God forbid, above these numbers. All right, now we have 3 basic ad types on Amazon, right? Sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. But when it comes to launching, sponsored products is the one that's going to actually eat up most of your ad spend and take most of your impressions, clicks, purchases. Now, I will say sponsored brands is, a second. I'm not going to say a close second because still more than half your ad spend is going to go to sponsored products, but it is growing. With every passing month, we spend more of our ad spend on sponsored brands that we used to spend on sponsored products. And Amazon is investing heavily in sponsored brands. So this is one thing you can take out of this session is for the year of 2025, 2025 is the year of sponsored brand ads. Amazon is investing so much in it. You see in the last year plus, they started allowing you to do videos top of search. You can now, the videos are even taking up more space. The first ad in every category is now a sponsored brand ad. Amazon is investing heavily in this. We are getting sponsored brand ads that are producing clicks at half the cost of sponsored product ads. This is a huge hack. Those of you guys that are not yet employing sponsored brand video ads in particular, if there's one thing there's a lot of things to take from this session, but that's one big thing I want you to take from this session is sponsored brands is on the come up. Now, for the 3 different placement types, product pages, rest of search, top of search, the one we're going to focus on is top of search if we can. Like I said before, you can't always do it. Sometimes the clicks are too freaking expensive. I'm from Jersey, so I curse a lot, but I know this is going on YouTube, so I'm really trying to censor myself. It's hard, guys. It's hard. Being from Jersey and not cursing, it's difficult. Yeah, top of search is the one that you want to focus on. Rest of search, if that doesn't work, and if neither of them work because the ACoS is just out of this galaxy, then you're just going to focus on whatever does work. And product pages sometimes is the one that you're going to fall back on. But if you can, top of search. All right, now let's talk about how to get keyword data. And I'm going to talk you through the old way versus the new way of creating campaigns from the get-go. So how it used to be, and unfortunately, some of you guys are still doing this, but this is what not to do. Okay. This is what used to be the standard practice. There were even, I'm not going to say the name of it, but there was a very popular PPC course. It was the most popular PPC course back in the day, a couple of years back, that would teach this exact thing. And, in their defense, it worked then, or we just didn't really know a better way. But this is a great way to lose a bunch of money and to really harm your launch and just basically dump money down the toilet. And it is spinning up a bunch of auto campaigns to let Amazon do your targeting for you, then collecting the data on what seems to be converting in those auto campaigns by downloading search term reports, then creating broad and phrase campaigns based on some of the terms that you seem to be converting, then finding the exact search terms from those broad and phrase campaigns that are performing well, and only then creating exact match campaigns based on those keywords that you saw perform. Now, this works, and logically, it kind of makes sense, right? The problem with it is that this whole process cost money, and it costs not a little money. Drinking my tea here, staying awake with you guys on a Thursday night. It costs not a little money. It costs a lot of money. Amazon is going to waste a ton of money. Not to knock Amazon. It's not their fault. They just don't have the sales data yet from your new product to really know what keywords are actually producing. So I like to use this analogy of you're trying to carve this beautiful masterpiece and you're starting from an empty block of granite. Whereas the new way is to start with the hypothesis of what you think it will look like and then edit it over time as you get the data back, but do the research up front. Now, I'm only now realizing that for this little analogy, I used a chick and then 2 dudes. So I should probably change that to a statue of another dude, because in this case, the hypothesis was way off. Well, is that a chick? No, dude, I don't even know. I hope this doesn't get taken off YouTube. I think that is a girl for sure with her titty out. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, so we might have to edit that part out. The way now is to upfront conduct a bunch of thorough keyword research to determine the search terms with highest probability of converting. This is in stark contrast from the way before. And this new way, it shouldn't say 2023, 2024. That's a typo. It should say 2024, 2025. This is the way that you should be doing it. Now, in stark contrast to before, where we didn't do any keyword research up front, we just let Amazon do our keyword research by spending a bunch of money on auto campaigns and broad match campaigns. What we're doing instead of that is doing deep research up front to come up with our best hypothesis of what keywords are going to convert. And then we right away are launching with exact match campaigns, also broad match campaigns. Phrase match campaigns are less important. Really, you're just going to focus on exact match campaigns and broad match campaigns and broad modified. I'll tell you what that means in a second. Then you adjust the budgets and the bids and the placement modifiers based on what's working best for those keywords. Then you're going to launch these research campaigns, the auto campaigns and more broad match campaigns, and continue sharpening those original campaigns. So it's almost the reverse of what we did before, right? So instead of like starting off with these broad campaigns and letting Amazon do all the research for us, we do all the research. We start off with these specific campaigns with a few highly restricted, more broad campaigns so that Amazon still is able to find new keywords for us. And then we learn from that and we update our thesis as time goes on. But we don't waste a bunch of ad spend letting Amazon paying Amazon to do that keyword research for us. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? All right. So let me just give you a few examples. I'm a type of person, I don't listen to people, basically. I'm a good listener, but I'm just not a good believer. I only believe things if it makes sense to me and if I know that person did it successfully. If they're just talking without any evidence to match what they're saying, I just don't believe them because so many people just parrot what they hear other people saying. So I'm putting this slide in here and a few slides because I know some of you guys are like me. And you're only going to believe what I'm about to show you as the campaign structure that produces results for product launches if you know that I'm actively doing it. So these are all launches that we've done just recently, just in the last few months or the last year, where we use this exact protocol that I'm going to run you through and got outstanding results. Now, I have a portfolio of hundreds of brands that I partner with to grow them using Amazon PPC. And these are just a few, but I have a ton of these. We literally do this every month. We do this every week, actually. We have launches running constantly all the time. So we took over management of this brand right about here. We ran these launch protocols to relaunch some of their products that weren't ranking before and continue the launch of the products that they were already that they were launching that were new. And we got them from literally, it was around 9,000 a month to 195,000 a month. And you could see this blue bar is their profit. They were extremely profitable from this sales growth as well. So I'm not just talking about blowing up your ad spend to blow sales just so that you have, some vanity metrics to brag about. I'm talking about launching a product to make it profitable. That's what this session is all about. Here's another one. We got, I had the numbers wrong. This one we got to, what is it? Oh, it doesn't know. Well, you could see 316,000 for that month. Okay. So, and this one we got to 195,000. You can see we stocked out, a few times along the way. But this product, we absolutely exploded with these PPC strategies. This is one we took on when it was around 15,000. We used these strategies to get it to 75,000 in the span of 6 months. And by the way, this one, you can't see the graph over here, but this blue bar is profit. When we got this brand to about 75K, they were doing 20K in profit per month. The only reason it looks like it went down here is because it out of stocked. Okay. And it went way back up after this. This was a couple months ago that I took this screenshot. So all that to say, this stuff works. I could spend an entire presentation just going through the examples of times that we've done this with brands. We do it over and over and over again. We are now one of the top players in the Amazon PPC space. We teach the most popular course on Amazon PPC. It's called the Profitable PPC Challenge. So you guys can believe, what I'm about to say. Now, with all that said, the reason I put this slide after those slides is because this is the most boring slide and the one that people are most likely to not pay attention to. But this is the key to how we produce all of these unfair advantage style outsized results for the brands that we partner with. Now, again, we're only partnering with brands that we know that we can help them and that we have the potential, that the founders are good, that the products are good. But that being said, it's these strategies I'm teaching you guys that we use to grow these brands. And this is the core of it. Okay. So I really want you guys to pay attention to this because this is possibly the most important part of this whole presentation. We call this the essential feedback loop. On the right side here, you have your PPC campaigns, and then you have your listing, and what's not shown here is you have your thumbnail. Okay, so you have PPC campaigns, listing, and thumbnail. These are your players. Now, Think of your listing and thumbnail as like the warrior who's going into battle every day. Battle is the marketplace. The battleground is all day long on the Amazon marketplace. You're ranking here, you're ranking there, your ads are showing up here, they're not showing up there. That's the battleground. And the horse carrying that warrior into battle is your PPC campaigns. Without PPC campaigns, your listings would never see the light of day. If you try to rank on Amazon in 2025 or launch a product on Amazon, you don't have PPC running, you're going to get 0 sales, goose egg. You're going to be completely invisible because it's a pay to play game now. And that's just how it is. So your listing is the warrior. Your PPC campaigns are the horse. The PPC campaigns carry your listings into battle. In the battleground all day long, through this action of people clicking on your thumbnail and not buying, or clicking on your thumbnail and buying, or seeing your thumbnail and then they don't even click, all of those activities produce data that you then collect in Amazon in the form of your PPC search term reports, which shows you the targets that you targeted, what ACoS they were at, how many clicks each got, how many purchases each got, the brand analytics, and it's specifically the search query performance report inside brand analytics. So this is in Seller Central. You just go to brands, brand analytics, and then you can see this data, and your business reports. That's where all the data comes from. Now, here's the key. Listen very carefully to this part. Here's how you have outsized results that pretty much guarantee, as long as your product isn't complete shit, complete crap. We'll edit that out. This basically guarantees that your sales and your profitability will continue to get better and better and better over time instead of worse and worse and worse over time. And this is it. So you analyze the data in these different things, the PPC search term report, the brand analytics, the business reports. You use them to improve your PPC campaigns. So this part you guys are probably used to. I see, oh, this search term has a really high ACoS. I'm going to lower the bid. Or, oh, this search term, when I look deeper at it, has a high ACoS when I advertise top of search, but it actually has a low ACoS when I advertise rest of search. So I'm going to increase my bid modifier for rest of search. I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. I'm going to increase my bid modifier for rest of search and decrease my bid modifier for top of search. That's the kind of changes that you're going to make on that side. But the real ninja shit, guys, the real ninja shit that's going to get you outsized returns is taking this data and integrating it into the actual listings and the thumbnails. This is what no one does. This is what we do. This is like basically why I have a company and why we're growing very fast, is because we know how to do this. And even though it's really not that complicated, no one does it. The few brands that really have mastered this have become 9-figure successes. Think Zesty Paws, which sold for 600 million. That skincare brand that I can't even remember what it's called now, that sold for like just shy of 300 million. Puracy, which sold for 100 million. These brands are Amazon brands, Amazon first brands that got to 9-figure valuations, produced life-changing exits because they understood this part of the equation. I use the data to improve my listings and my thumbnails. And what does that mean? So I think I have a few examples of this later on in the presentation, but some examples. I can use brand analytics if I go to my search query performance report to see which search term families are producing lots of sales, but I have lower than average clicks compared to the market. Then I'm going to think of why. So, and I'm actually just about to release a YouTube video on this. You guys are in perfect timing. So if you want to go deeper on that, check out my YouTube channel where I go deeper. It should be one of my most recent videos. But I'm going to find out why. So if I have ice box and then I have ice bag for my cooler product, and my thing is a bag, but it's a box bag. So it's both a box and a bag. And people who search ice box are clicking at a higher than benchmark rate, but people who search ice bag are not. The only way that I know I'm not resonating with those people who search ice bag is by looking at this data. And once I find that insight, now I can do something about it. What would I do? Well, maybe I would try changing the primary image to show it crinkling a little bit, or to show the top folding back to show that it's malleable and that's actually a bag, not a rigid box. I can't, and that right there, that change could increase my sales by 30, 40, 50%, because my click-through rate could go from 1% to 1.5% or 1% to 2%, meaning I'm getting 50% more traffic to my listing or 100% more traffic to my listing, literally double the traffic to my listing. I have an example, I think it's in this presentation, where we tripled the traffic to our listing for free without changing any of the things in PPC just by running this process. This, I would take a screenshot of this. This should be like in your Amazon Bible, basically. This is the way that we get unfair advantages for the brands in our portfolio. And everything that I talk about when I'm about to get into the nitty gritty, guys. So take your pencils out, make sure they're sharpened, and we'll get into the real nitty gritty stuff here. But everything I talk about is going to relate back to this feedback loop here. I keep this on my desktop just to remind myself how important it is. All right, now we're getting into we're going to dig our hands into the mud here. So I'm going to take a sip of tea. So I'm charged up. 2 types of ads on Amazon. 2 places the ads show up on Amazon. Search results and browse or interest-based ads that show up other places. So search results is sponsored product, keyword targeted ads. Sponsored brands, again, shows up on search results. Sponsored brand video in particular. But in browse, all sponsored display ads are browse-based, meaning they show up mostly on listings. There's a little section that sometimes shows up in search results, but a vast majority of sponsored display ads show up in listings. Product placement, targeted sponsored product ads and sponsored brand ads show up on listings, so they're browse based. Amazon Live Video and Post, those are browse based, right? Because they don't show up in search; they show up on listings or in dedicated parts of Amazon. So I say this just to say there's 2 big categories of where ads show up on Amazon. It's either in search results or it's when people are browsing around. We're going to focus on the search results type of ads. So mostly sponsored products, also sponsored brands and sponsored brand video. But we're focusing on this because during a launch, we really want to drive ranking. And to drive ranking, you want most of your ads to show up in search, because Amazon says, oh, somebody searched this term and clicked this product. I should rank this product for this term because this is a product people like to click on when they search this term. And we want to give Amazon that data, that juice to make to kickstart their algorithm a little bit, right? So we're going to focus more on search than we would on browse. Within search, we're going to focus more on the keyword targeting than the product targeting. Now, this is something a lot of people don't really understand. In sponsored products and sponsored brands, whether you target a keyword or you target a product, your product can show up, your ad can show up in search terms and product pages. So even if I'm just targeting exact match one product, I still can show up in search. You can't fully control it. And why that is, well, you'll have to ask Jeff Bezos that, but that's the case. But you can influence it through bid adjusters. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Okay. Now let's actually walk through how to create a ranking campaign. Now, this is how to create the type of campaign that is the backbone foundation of any product launch. It's a sponsored product, single keyword, exact match campaign. And the way to do it is go to Seller Central, open up your ad console, click this blue button under sponsored products, then click manual targeting, then click keyword targeting. Then in keyword targeting, click enter list, check this exact box and make sure phrase and broad are unchecked, and then put one single keyword in here. Wooden tissue box cover is the one that I'm using as my example. Click add keywords, use down only bidding or fixed bidding, and then boom, you got yourself a single keyword exact match ranking campaign. Simple as that. If you just take that from this presentation, that's the backbone of every launch. There are other campaign types that you should know how to create, but this is the backbone. Now, let's talk about bidding. What do you use as your starting bid? A lot of people use what Amazon calls their suggested bid or their default bid as their starting bid. That's not a good way to go. I'm not going to sound out what this means. I just saw that there's a Jersey girl live with us right now, which is awesome. That makes me feel way less weird. But let's just say Amazon suggested bid, it's not good, okay? Here's how you actually calculate a starting bid. So your starting bid is your product price times your conversion rate times your target ACoS. Now, let me back up a second and let's talk about why that is. In the simplest example, if my target ACoS was 100%, that means for a $40 product, I'm willing to spend $40 in ads. So I'm willing to spend a $40 ad cost to sell my $40 product. That would be 100% ACoS. Now, I'm not recommending that. I'm just trying to make the math easy here, right? So assuming I'm willing to spend all $40 on ad spend to sell my $40 product, then it's very simple what I should bid on each click, because my bid is how much I'm bidding per click, right? It's how many clicks do I need to get to $40? Well, if my conversion rate is 10%, that means I need 10 clicks to get to $40, because 10% conversion 1 over 0.1, that's 10 clicks. So a 10% conversion rate means I need 10 clicks. I need 10 clicks to get my $40 sale, and I want to spend $40 on those 10 clicks. So my starting bid is going to be $4 per click, because I know I'm going to use 10 clicks because my conversion rate is 10%. So 10 times $4 per click is $40. I'm going to spend all $40 to get that. Whereas if I wanted a 50% ACoS, I would need to spend $2 per click, because again, I know I'm going to need 10 clicks because my conversion rate is 10%. So if I spend $2 per click at 10% conversion rate, 10 clicks, I'm going to spend $20 to sell a $40 product, meaning my ACoS is 50%. And similarly, if I wanted a 25% ACoS, I would spend $1 per click, because then I would have 10 clicks at $1 per click. I'm spending $10 to make a $40 sale. That's 25% ACoS, 10 over 40. Now, I hope you guys stuck with that. If you didn't get the logic behind why this math works, just take a screenshot of this. This is your starting bid when you're creating any new campaign. Now, the only caveat to this is when you're doing a brand new launch and it's your first ever campaign, you have zero data about what your conversion rate even is. You can just use either you can take an estimate of what you think your conversion will be. You could say, I have I'm pretty confident that the conversion rate is going to be between 10 and 15% because these other products in my line were around there. Then you can use that estimate. Otherwise, you'll have to fall back on Amazon suggested bid if you have absolutely no idea or no data. But quickly, you want to start using this formula for your suggested bid. Now, how do you calculate your campaign budget? This you have to make a few assumptions for. So it's all about your assumed TACoS. So if you say, in order to rank for a particular keyword, I need to sell 30 units a day, because in my niche, that's where I need to be at. That's the sales velocity I need to be at to be considered by Amazon's algorithm to be relevant for this search term and get enough sales to really rank for that search term. So I know I need 30 units a day in sales. So that's going to be what? About 900 units a month. So now I know what my revenue is going to be, 900 units a month. If my unit retail price is $20. That means I'm going to be making, what is that? 900 units, 18,000 a month, right? So my assumed TACoS is what's going to determine my budget. So if I say, okay, I'm willing to spend 30% of that on ads, 30% of my revenue on ads, then all I'm going to do is take that the number of units I'm going to sell, multiply it by the price, which is what I just did, multiply that by the TACoS. And that gives me my actual budget. But you have to do it on a daily basis, not a monthly basis like I just did with you guys. But this is what it is. It's units per day times price times TACoS. So this is 30 times 20 times 30. And that gets me $180 per day is my budget. Now I know my daily budget that I can spread across all my campaigns. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Again, if the logic behind it doesn't make sense, you could sit and think about it later. I know I'm talking pretty fast. Just copy and paste this little formula here. That's all you need to know. Okay. About 60% plus of your total budget is going to go to single keyword exact match campaigns and sponsored products. The only caveat I'm going to say to this is that if you have good creative, which you should, because more and more of advertising that's working on Amazon is coming from sponsored brands. So I would recommend that you invest in creative. If you have good creative, more of this budget will go towards sponsored products. But if you don't, it'll be about 60% of your ad spend is going to go to single keyword exact match campaigns, because That's what drives ranking the best. You're still going to be doing broad match. You're still going to be doing broad modified. You'll still have some auto targeting campaigns, but a lot of your ad spend is going to go towards single keyword, exact match campaigns that you can finally control. Because when you have only one keyword in the campaign, then for that keyword, and you do this for really important keywords. So for that keyword, I can now control if it's going to show up top of search, rest of search, or product pages. And if it's showing up one more than the other too much, I can finally fine tune that. Whereas if I slam a bunch of keywords in a campaign, I can't control that as easily on a per keyword basis. Okay. Now we walked through how to set up a single keyword exact match campaign. I'm going to go through other campaign setups as well, but let's talk about how to manage these campaigns once they're set up. One of the primary things you're doing is managing the placements. So you've got top of search, rest of search, and product pages, right? For each of these, you have a bid modifier built into it. Adjusting that bid modifier is that, along with adjusting the bid, is pretty much your number one daily chore when you're running a launch. You're going to log in, you're going to see what placements are doing best, and then you're going to adjust the bid and the bid modifiers for each of those placements based on what's doing best. And I think I have a screenshot in here. Maybe I don't. But the bid modifiers are in this screen. If you click placements here, I'm not scrolled over all the way, but if you scroll over, if you click placements, you see where to put the bid modifiers. You're just going to look which of these placements, top of search, rest of search, or product pages for this campaign is doing the best, and then juice that one. So this one got 2 orders at 15% ACoS, top of search, whereas rest of search, it got 8 orders at 21% ACoS. Now, for me, honestly, these are great metrics no matter what. I can't even remember which of my accounts I took this screenshot from, but obviously top of search is doing great. So I'm definitely going to up the bid modifier on that, because 15% ACoS on the top of search placement is awesome. So in this case, I'm going to up that. Product pages I don't really care about because I'm really focused on driving search-based search terms. So I'm going to focus on top of search and just constantly go in here and adjust those bid modifiers. That's pretty much the main responsibility when you're managing these launch campaigns. Now, what do you do if the top of search cost per clicks are way too expensive? Just forget about it. This is one big mistake that a lot of sellers make, is they try to push top of search even if the clicks are like 5 times or 7 times or 8 times the cost of the clicks for rest of search, and they're just bleeding money, but they think, I have to do this because I have to rank. No, you don't. If the top of search is way too expensive, forget about it. Just leave it. Go rest of search and do product pages. It's fine. As long as you're driving sales velocity, it's still going to have an impact on ranking. Even though top of search has the highest click-through rate and the biggest impact on ranking, it's not the only thing that impacts ranking. So the main thing here is just follow the data. Once you create these campaigns, and I have a slide later on that literally shows you exactly which campaigns and how many of each to create. So you guys will, we'll have that. You could just screenshot that, and then when you're setting it up, you could just reference that. I even have a whole cheat sheet on this that I can send you guys. So there's only so much I can cover in this, quick session, but you guys will have access to that. I'll give you access to it. But when you're managing these campaigns, once you set them up, the key is to follow the data. Looking at what placements are working best, what keywords are working best, what creative is working best. Do more of what's working and cut out what's not working. And if you do that every day, your campaigns just get better and better and better over time, and your launch is going to be successful as long as the product is good. Okay. So this is what you're doing. You're clicking placements when you click into your campaign, and then you're looking at orders and ACoS, and then you're adjusting these bid modifiers. I knew I had the screenshot in here. So this is the bid adjustment. This is bid modifier. So you're going to up the bid modifier on the placements that are doing really well and decrease the bid modifier on placements that are not doing well. And if the bid modifier is already at 0, then all you're going to do is decrease the whole bid for that keyword and just up the bid modifier even more for the placement that is doing well. Make sense? Cool. All right. So you're also going to be able to see your top of search impression share. Generally, it's good to have a top of search impression share of 30%. That's a good target. If you're not reaching that, again, it probably just means the top of search is way too expensive in your space, and that's fine. Just follow the data. But if you can get to about 30% on average top of search impression share, that's really helpful. All right. So again, I'm going to talk through this feedback loop. So what we're doing throughout this launch is we're finding out what search terms have high traffic, high conversion rate, but low click-through rate. And then we're going to use that to adjust the thumbnail. So when you have search terms that have high conversion but low click-through, that means you have a click issue. When the reverse happens, you have high click-through but low conversion, it means you have a conversion issue. So this is very important. This is like, you guys are here with me learning the stuff that a vast majority of sellers don't go deep enough to find. This is the data that your competitors are not getting. This is the strategy that they're not using because it feels too hard, but it's actually not hard. It's not hard at all. In fact, the YouTube video that I referenced before that's coming out around the time of this makes it very easy. I walk through it step by step exactly how to do this. But you see this in brand analytics and search query performance reports, right? So what do I do in this case? If I have high conversion rate, but I can see that my click-through rate is lower than benchmark for my space, I'm going to adjust my title and I'm going to adjust my primary image. And then I'm going to see what the data says again. And I just keep on running this circle over and over again. And if I keep doing that enough times, I end up being the guy that's getting the most clicks out of all the competitors on page one. And that's the game. And here's the reverse of that. I'm going to find what search terms had high click-through rates but low conversion rates. And now I'm going to say, okay, why is that? Why is it that I'm attracting the click for these search terms, but I'm not getting the conversion? Something about my thumbnail and my title and my primary image is resonating with people who search this. Like I went before to the ice box versus ice bag example. But once they get to the listing, they're not sold. So something's up with that. So like if I had the ice bag thing, for example, maybe I'm not showing that it's like a bag with a zipper and that it can be crunched up and that it can save space and it doesn't take up as much space as a box. I'm not showing it in the trunk of a car and all these other things. I need to find out for that particular search term or that search term family why people aren't resonating with my listing, and then change my listing copy, the secondary images, the A+ content, ideally the premium A+ content, and the brand story. And I didn't put this here because technically it would be review manipulation to have any impact on reviews. But so I won't say to impact them or to change them in any way because that would be against terms of service. All I'll say is the top voter reviews also have a big impact on this. Okay, here are the foundations of a successful launch. You get the primary image winning most of the clicks. The primary image is the most important content of all. Between everything on your listing, everything on your thumbnail, the title, the images, the A+ content, the reviews, the questions, the brand story, everything, the most important piece of content of all of them is the primary image. This is why YouTubers spend most of their effort designing a thumbnail and a title, and then making the video that matches the thumbnail and title is actually almost an afterthought. The most important part of a YouTuber's job is designing a thumbnail and a title that gets clicks. And then all they have to do once they do that is make a video that people will continue watching after they click. Amazon sellers have to start thinking like this. The primary image is the most important thing. So split testing and A/B testing different strategies that work well for a primary image is your number one responsibility if you want this launch to actually be profitable. Next, conversion rate should be above benchmark. If you don't know how to benchmark conversion rate, you can do this in the search query performance report. You just go to brand analytics, search query performance, and then you'll be able to benchmark your conversion rate for each of the terms. And you can benchmark the conversion rate as a whole, actually, in the Product Opportunity Explorer as well. So you can do this multiple different ways. Make sure that your conversion rate is higher than benchmark. That's key. If your conversion rate is lower than benchmark for the space, then you got a problem. Your review and by the way, for a broad conversion rate benchmark, you can go to search catalog performance, and that will help you get a broad benchmark across all keywords instead of a keyword-based benchmark. Review milestone number 1 is getting 5 reviews. We want to do that ASAP, as quick as possible. The review milestone number 2 is getting to 21 reviews, and then the next milestone is getting into the hundreds. After that, it's getting into the thousands. After that, it's getting into the tens of thousands. But in the beginning, you just want to hit 5 as quickly as humanly possible, and you want to hit 21 as quickly as humanly possible. The best way to do this, and this is a little controversial, but I'm telling you, this is fine to do. This is not against Amazon's terms of service. Include a product insert that has a QR code and a link to scan, so your customers scan it to get something, like the warranty or a guide on how to use the product or whatever. In order to get that, they're going to a landing page where they type in their information and they click download, and then they go on your email list. You email them valuable information, a few warm-up emails in a sequence. This is all automatic. You don't have to do this manually each time. And then you ask them for a review, and you send them a link to a review. Now, only between 1% and 5% of the shoppers are actually going to do this and go through this process, but that's already between 2 and 4xing the rate of reviews that you would get otherwise, because the average review velocity on Amazon is 1%, meaning 1 out of 100 orders leads to a review. You can up that to 2, 3, even 4% by adding a product insert that compliantly asks for a review without asking for anything in return. And it doesn't ask for a good review, it just asks for an honest review. Oh, and then finally, your review rating needs to stay above 4.3 stars. All right, let's talk about keywords. And like I said, I'm not going to do like a whole keyword research session here. I'm just going to go, quickly through. You got 2 different sources of keyword data. You got lab data, field data. Lab data means I'm in my lab. I'm researching keywords. Field data means I'm out in the world finding out what's actually performing with my product. So field data is PPC search term reports. This is based on how my product is interacting with the real world. Real customers are interacting with my product to get this data. The search query performance dashboard. Again, this isn't data you can just check out or see. You can only generate this data, and this data dashboard only populates once you're selling. And it's how customers are actually interacting with your product. That's how you get the best keyword data. But the problem is you can only get this data by selling. So prior to selling, you gotta rely on this lab data, which is Amazon Product Opportunity Explorer. That you don't need to sell in order to get that data. It's just a tool that Amazon gives us to search. Anybody can use it. Everybody sees the same data. This stuff you see specific to your product. And other elements of brand analytics like top search terms. You can also, that's another one where that's a tool that everybody sees the same data. It's not based on your product sales. Okay. Then also in line with lab data is external keyword research tools like AMZ Scout, who's hosting this webinar with me. By the way, it's not all about the traffic volume. So a lot of things come into play when you're assessing a keyword. The volume is only one element. So don't just search, a bunch of keywords, order them by search volume, and then pop them into campaigns. You got to assess them based on this: the average purchase price of that term, the relevance of that traffic, the general conversion rate of that traffic, the specific conversion rate to your product, and the intent to buy. So someone searching travel pillows might be looking to browse around, where travel pillow, they just want to buy one, right? This could be a window shopper. This might have more high intent. So not all keywords are created equal. All right, I just went through this, but basically back in the day, you just had third-party tools in Amazon.com, and we would also go to like Google Trends and Google Keyword Planner and stuff like that. Now, the number one source of keywords that you can possibly get is Amazon themselves, which is Brand Analytics, Search Query Performance Report, Brand Analytics Top Search Terms, Product Opportunity Explorer, the Search Query Performance Report, which I already said, and Amazon themselves. But then, of course, you're also going to need to use analysis tools like AMZ Scout, because you don't have the data ahead of time to be generating search term reports and the Search Query Performance Report. Okay, let's talk about long tail keywords, and I'm going to go briefly through how to organize and do your keyword research. So long tail refers to this graph. If you ever wonder why do they call it long tail keywords, it's because of this graph. This is the long tail. So if each line here is another keyword and the height of the line is the volume of the keyword, there's a ton of keywords that have very low volume. And there's just a few keywords at the top here that have very high volume. So this is a main tail keyword, a mid tail keyword, and then a long tail keyword. So there's a spectrum. The higher the volume, usually it's lower relevance. The higher the relevance, usually that's lower volume. So for example, high volume might be omega-3. High relevance might be chewable omega-3 for dogs, for big dogs. That's high relevance, but it's going to have way less search volume. But omega-3, while it has high volume, is going to have very low relevance. So main keywords are usually 1 to 2 words. They have high competition and high search volume. Mid-tail keywords are usually 2 to 4 words. They have medium competition, medium search volume. Then long-tail keywords can be 2 to 7 or even more words. They have low competition, but they have low search volume, right? So we're really going to focus mostly on these mid keywords because they tend to have a good amount of volume, but also a good amount of relevance. So they're worth our time. That's kind of the sweet spot. What you're going to do is choose 5. And these are going to be the main keywords you track as kind of the litmus test indicator of how your ranking campaigns are doing. So you're going to do 5 primary keywords that represent the success of all your keywords. These keywords are going to fit into different buckets. You've got shopper intent groups. You're going to come up with probably 6 to 12 groups. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a second when I talk through like our keyword research sheet. Then you have branded search terms. That means search terms that include your brand name or other brands' brand names. Misspells, negatives. You're going to bucket the keywords when we do this keyword research. And the most important bucket to put them in is semantic core, or what we like to call shopper intent. So if one word that keeps coming up is STEM, which is like learning toys, right? STEM toys for 1-year-olds, kids STEM toys for 1-year-olds, STEM toys for 6-year-old boys, STEM toys for kids, STEM toys for 5-year-old boys, STEM master building toys. All these keywords fit into the bucket of STEM. And we're going to put those keywords in one campaign. And this is like a secret. If you organize your campaigns like this, where all of the keywords have some kind of intent associated with them, then the performance of that campaign represents how well you resonate with those particular shoppers. And dude, this is the secret. This is the secret. If you get this, then you can look at your campaigns, see what's performing well from a click-through rate perspective, see what's performing well from a conversion rate perspective, see what's working bad from a click-through rate perspective and bad from a conversion rate perspective. And you can make changes to your thumbnails and listings and the campaigns all at once based on that data. And this just supercharges you, dude. This is the magic that makes you really, really crush it, especially with a product launch, is if you organize your campaigns like this. Now I'm going to show you how we do it. Okay, but first, yeah, I forgot I added these. I'm going to show you some of these search term sources. I know I'm running low on time here, so I'm going to start going a little faster. Product Opportunity Explorer is a tool that's available for everybody. You have it inside Seller Central. You just go search a term like magnetic blocks, click on that term, and you're going to get a bunch of data about that term. This is and you get a bunch of related terms. This is a really good source for data and for keywords, and it gives you the search volume yearly for those search terms. And by the way, you can export this. It's so hard to export Product Opportunity Explorer data because it doesn't let you copy and paste it, but you can use Chrome tabs like the HTML scraper to get this data out. Okay, then there's keyword research tools like AMZ Scout. Now I'm going to go through a couple screenshots of that at the end of this presentation, but this is another great source of search terms. Then there's the Search Query Report, which not only allows you to get search terms, but it also allows you to gauge and benchmark how those terms are doing for your products and for the whole space. The Search Query Performance Report is, I can't drive this home enough. Like, I would spend all day in there. This is the ultimate feedback loop tool that allows you to find out where the issue is in the funnel. Is it with your impressions? Is it with your clicks? Is it with your purchases? I would do a whole session on this, and maybe we will do it. To get to it, you just go to Brands, Brand Analytics. And then under Search Analytics, these are the coolest parts. You have Search Catalog Performance, Search Query Performance, and Top Search Terms. These are the most important ones. So Search Catalog Performance shows you your search terms, or sorry, your products, and you get to have like product-based metrics, and you can benchmark globally for the product. Search query performance shows you search term by search term data, and you can gauge benchmark click-through rate and conversion rate, and your click-through rate and conversion rate for the space and for your product for each of those terms. That's super powerful. And top search terms you can use anytime just to look at the top terms in each niche. Cool. This is what it looks like when you go into the search query performance report. We're not going to go super deep into that now because I need to walk you through the actual campaign structure for a launch. First of all, proper etiquette. Each portfolio should have all of the campaigns for a product. Each campaign represents a goal. And okay, by the way, so I threw this in a weird spot, but this is the keyword research sheet that we like to use to keep all the keyword data organized. And you'll see if you zoom in here, these each column is organized by route, or like I've been saying, shopper intent. So each of these columns is a different shopper intent. What you're going to do is dump your keywords in here from each source. You can see Product Opportunity Explorer, AMZ Scout, top search terms and brand analytics, and any other sources that you're getting keywords from. And then you're going to take them and sort them. Now, this is something it's a little tedious to do. ChatGPT can help, but you have to do it. And you only have to do it once, because once you do this, you're going to set your campaigns up based on this search term sheet. And then you have that as the fundamental, and it's nice and organized, and it's not chaos inside your ad console from that point forward. So this is really, really useful. By the way, if you want this, all you have to do is email hello@sophiesociety.com. I'll type it in the chat box here, because I thought I had a slide with this, but apparently I don't. Just email hello@sophiesociety.com. We'll put it in the description of the video too. And just say search term aggregator, and I'll send you this sheet, or I'll send you a templated version of this sheet that you can use yourself to sort and aggregate your search terms. And by the way, I have a little video on how to use the sheet too that I'll include in there, because we just don't have time to go through how to do really deep keyword research on this. But you're going to take your keywords, remove the duplicates, sort them out, and then it'll look something like this. So I have my Product Opportunity Explorer keywords, my keyword search tool keywords, and then my search term report keywords and any other sources of keywords. Then I'm going to segregate them into semantic cores and or buyer intent. So for example, I have everything that has basket in it, if it's a gift basket. Then I have everything that says kit, gift kit, or beauty kit. And then I have everything that's about mom, gifts for mom, present for mom. And I have 6 to 12 of those different parent groupings, and my campaigns will be based on that. That's the magic. Okay, so some fundamentals: one portfolio per product, one campaign per goal. Use a lot of exact match campaigns for each primary, one exact match campaign for each primary keyword. Then you're going to put in place broad match campaigns. These work really, really well. Broad match campaigns, for whatever reason, are working better and better now. And then auto campaigns. And your campaign structure will look something like this. So you got 5 to 15. Now, this is something to take a screenshot of. Anywhere between 5 and 15 sponsored product exact match single keyword campaigns. Then 2 to 10 sponsored product exact match multi-keyword campaigns. And these will be based on those shopper intents that we talked about. Then 1 to 3 exact match offensive product targeting campaigns. And you're going to do product research to find out which products either are higher priced, they have a lower star rating, or you have a feature that's better than theirs, or your primary image sticks out more than theirs. And you're going to put in place campaigns targeting these products. You're going to have defensive product targeting campaigns for each product. And there's no reason not to do this, because right from the get-go, like, you might as well get people who are searching for your own products and your own brand terms. And if you have multiple products, there's zero reason not to advertise those products on each other's product pages, because those are your spots. Not only are you getting more advertising space, but you're also keeping other advertisers from getting that space on your listings, right? So it has double benefit. You're going to do a self-targeted product placement targeting campaign where this is basically like a hack to do instant retargeting. You target, it's a product targeting ad, but you target the very same product that you're advertising. So hypothetically, they would see an ad for a product on that same product's page, but Amazon doesn't actually do it. Instead, they actually show that ad to people who have been on that page recently. So it's like retargeting, and it gets you like a low flow of very low ACoS sales. Then you're going to put in place sponsored product. Oh, sponsored brand campaigns. Now, this one is more important than it used to be. Using custom video in a sponsored brand custom video ad campaign is one way to kind of hack getting clicks without having reviews. So it's another way to inspire trust when you don't have the reviews to inspire that trust, is to just have a video that's really good, and people will trust it because it looks good and it seems to be solving the problem that they have. So this is one of the best ways to juice a product launch and get an unfair advantage, is to use sponsored brand video. Then of course, you're also going to have sponsored product broad match campaigns. And the way to do this is take that semantic core, or the core of that search term family for each one of those families, and you make a broad match campaign for each of those. And then you'll see what new search terms come that will fit into each of those search term families. And when you get that exact search term, you pop that out and put it back into that exact match campaign. Then you're going to do auto campaigns. It's best to segregate these out by the different auto campaign types, and instead of putting them all together, because then you can see which one is doing better. And sponsored product expanded product targeting. This is a way to find new product targets. So both of these are ways to either find new search terms to target or find new ASINs to target. In total, it's going to be between 15 and 25 campaigns. So I'd take a screenshot of this. This is a really good rubric when you're setting up your launches, to use this as your kind of basis for creating the launch. Here's the basic breakdown of the ad spend. During a launch, you're going to have 0% of your ad spend going to sponsored display, or very little, unless you have a very well-developed brand and you're doing cross promotion. Then you're probably going to do some product-targeted sponsored display ads. But for most of you guys, just focus on sponsored products and sponsored brands. You're going to have about 70% of your ad spend or ad revenue coming from sponsored products, and about 30% coming from sponsored brands. The only thing I would say is, if you have really good creatives, this can be more than 30%. It could be 40, 50, 60% if you have really good creatives. And if you do, you definitely want to. All right, we got to go pretty fast here. Cool. All right. Again, just some more proof here. We got to a 15% ACoS at the end of 60 days for this launch by using this strategy. We got to position 1 for a search term that had 21,000 monthly searches within 50 days. We got position 1 within 49 days for a 20,000 monthly search volume search term. Within 4 weeks, we got to 300 sales per week on this fitness product. We reached a number 2 ranking spot for a search term that gets 100,000 searches per month. We've done this a ton. By day 11 of this launch, we ranked number 2 for $100,000 monthly volume search term. So yeah, this stuff works. All to say that this works. This is what's working now. Measurement. So again, this is a template that I actually have a version of this I can send to you guys. This is actually an old daily sales tracker from Titan Network, the mastermind that I'm a mentor in. They don't use this anymore because they have their own tool, but we use our own version of it inside Sophie, and I'm happy to send it to you guys. Basically, it color codes your ranking based on how close you are to the first position. So during the launch, you're tracking all these metrics each day, and this tells you how you're doing on the launch. If you don't know these metrics, you don't know if the launch is doing well or not. You don't know if you're heading in the right direction or the wrong direction. And the great thing about this conditional formatting that shows you a greener box the closer to a page 1 ranking you are, is that you could see visually really quick, am I working to rank with these keywords with my campaigns, or is it not working? Cool. Yeah, here's another, this is Nafisa, one of the brand owners who partnered with us. She was stuck at 10,000 a month when she came to us, and then we got her to 34,000 a month, and her profit increased by even higher margin by using these strategies. Yeah, it just works, guys. So cool. I know I covered a lot of stuff there, and some of the stuff I wasn't able to go deep into. But like I said, on my YouTube channel, just search Chris Rawlings on YouTube. I go way deeper on a lot of this stuff. You guys can find the data there. AMZ Scout also has a lot of great content on their YouTube channel that covers some of the topics that we talked about. So you're welcome to do that. But one thing that we have set up for you guys is a joint offer between me and AMZ Scout. You're going to get, between the two of us, access to our next Amazon PPC challenge, which has now become the most popular Amazon PPC training in the world. You'll get a PPC action plan from one of my strategists and a one-to-one call with one of my top PPC strategists to go over your account and come up with the 4 top actions that you can take to improve the ads on your account. This is like super valuable. Like, this is worth over $1,000 just doing like a one-on-one session with one of my top guys. You'll have access to a community for 5 days during my event where you'll bond with other sellers who are also working on PPC. I'm going to give you a bunch of templates and guides for everything from bidding to keyword research to increasing conversion rate and click-through rate to re-ranking dead listings. I'm going to give you more hacks from my own playbook on what I use on my brand. You're also going to get 1 year of AMZ Scout and their AI tool set, plus their AI listing builder, and more bonuses from AMZ Scout. And I'm going to go into actually what those are. So the upcoming PPC training, like I said, this is a 5-day event. It's the most popular Amazon PPC training in the world right now. Other agencies send their people to us to train them on PPC. We've even had people from Amazon come join. So it's pretty cool what it's become. I've been running this for years now. It's called the Profitable PPC Challenge, and it sells out every time. But I'm going to give you guys a ticket if you're interested in this offer that I'm sharing with you guys this time. The PPC action plan is one of my guys literally going deep into your account and giving you specific actions to take to improve your PPC. Literally, you'll jump on a call, and then 30 minutes later, you're going to walk away from that call with exactly what you need to do to improve your PPC. That's the audit call with the strategist. The action plan comes out the back of it. During the event, you're going to have access to a community, a small community of just 60 other sellers, but a dozen plus mentors for 5 full days to completely transform your ability to produce results with PPC. This is really the best short-term, quick community that you could possibly have access to. It's super highly engaged. It's going nonstop every hour, but it's only for 5 days. So it's kind of like a boot camp in a way. These essential templates and guides, they include some of the things that I went over in this presentation, like the Amazon product lifecycle, a full ultimate guide for how to improve click-through rate, and a bunch of other stuff too, guides on how to do bidding, how to set up campaigns properly, a guide for how to take your keyword research and create campaigns from it, and pretty much a guide for, or a tool for everything else that I covered in this presentation. Then you're going to get a full year of AMZ Scout. So this is its Pro AI extension, the product database, the product tracker, the reverse ASIN lookup, the Amazon keyword search, the keyword tracker, your quick view and stock stats, and the AI listing builder. And here is a screenshot of the keyword research. This is what I was referencing in the presentation today, where if you don't have any sales volume or sales velocity to populate those sources on Amazon that give you search term data about your particular sales, this is where you can go to get keyword data and keyword hypotheses before you've started to get any data. And AMZ Scout does an excellent job aggregating all this data. The reverse ASIN lookup is another great way to get keyword ideas. Basically, you put other products in here that are already ranking for the keywords you want to rank for, and then you add them in as ASINs, and you click find keywords, and it just automatically generates a bunch of keywords for you from those ASINs. And then you have a keyword tracker, so you can see over time, are these campaigns actually working to generate me sales and generate me ranking, which gets me organic sales? So you can monitor the keyword ranking positions in Amazon for any product. It doesn't have to be yours. And it will break down the keyword ranking by page and position for multiple keywords. So you don't have to click through keyword by keyword. You can literally see them all in one place. By the way, this works on all 12 marketplaces, so this isn't just for the US. The AI listing builder, this is a newer feature of AMZ Scout. So it will generate you a listing. Now, I wouldn't recommend like plugging and playing this right away, but it's going to make it so much faster because it gives you some ideas of what to put in your product title and the bullet points based on some simple inputs. So this is really helpful. It just saves a lot of time. Again, you don't want to plug it, directly in just blindly. You want to first assess it and do your own take and your own pay attention to what the meaning behind the words and then put them in. We have the new Pro extension. So I've been messing around with this recently. It's really good to for getting an idea of the sales volume, the quality of the competition, and it scores the niches. So you know if the niche is a good niche or a bad niche based on a bunch of different qualification criteria. Plus, it allows you to estimate your FBA costs ahead of time so you know if you're going to be profitable or not. It also now, I was messing around with this with the AMZ Scout guys the other day, gives you a SWOT analysis, which is really cool. You just click a button and it generates strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in this space and gives you ideas for improving the product, which is really, really cool. Again, this is something I would use as like a starter where, okay, these are some ideas. I wouldn't immediately take them, but you have those as kind of inspiration when you're doing the product development. And by the way, it gives you a score. So you'll know, is this a good score or a bad score? Like, is it a score to 2 or a score to 10? And then you know from a high level which ones to look into and look more deeply at. Finally, you get the product database, which allows you to find a bunch of different product opportunities based on criteria that you fill in. So you're going to put in like the competitiveness, the monthly sales, the number of views that you want them to have, the space, the category, and it will generate a bunch of products based on your particular criteria. So you're going to get all this stuff. I'm not going to be able to screen share for you guys, but you're going to get everything that I just talked through, which has massive value. Even like 1 or 2 of these things is worth way more than we're charging for it on this session. It's only $649 for you guys. So in order to get this offer, all you have to do is scan one of these QR codes or click the link that my buddies at AMZ Scout just dropped into the chat here, and you can take part in this offer. This is only going to be available like through this route, and a lot of these things are scarce. They sell out, right? Like the tickets to the event that I host twice a year, it's a live event. It's not pre-recorded. We don't get sent out the recordings. There's no course that we post. You either come for those 5 days or you don't, and every single year we sell out tickets. So you can either scan this QR code here with your phone, or you could just go to this URL, amzscout.net/get/deal-Chris. And you could see on the screen the URL here. This is a really awesome deal, guys. I really recommend that you take it, especially if you're a seller that really aggressively wants to grow in 2025, or if you're a seller that's, closer to the earlier end of your journey, like you're in the beginning end of your journey and you just don't know what information to listen to. This will basically pop you on a track that guarantees that you're going to have access to the people, the mentors, the other sellers, and the right information to give you the best chance of success. So yeah, and if you liked anything about the session that I just went through today, what I go through in this 5-day event is way deeper. And not only that, but I use a ton of examples too. So I go through real examples of our brands and how we executed these strategies and what principles to pull from it. So yeah, scan this now, guys, or go to this link if you want to get this. Otherwise, if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat. If anybody does, we can collect those. Oh, by the way, there's a guarantee on this. So if you decide that you don't want it in 10 days, you could just get your money back 100%. All you have to do is email support@amzscout.net. They'll handle it for you. We bundled this together. Me and them partnered together to put this together. So yeah, this is special for you guys. We don't do this all the time. This is unique. So yeah, just scan this QR code, go to this URL to take part in this offer. And it's been awesome jamming with you guys. Oh, another option that we have, by the way, is payment plan. If you don't want to do the $649 up front, you can do 4 payments of $162.25. That's going to be one of the payment options if you scan this QR code. So if that sounds more reasonable to you, or you're able to handle that a little bit better, then yeah, you can do that. And honestly, there's kind of no reason not to, since there's no interest on that anyway. It's just pay later instead of pay now. Here's everything all at once if you need to see it in one place. Would love to see you guys there. Would love to see you guys at the event. Would love to see you guys inside the community. It's been awesome doing this session with you guys. I think we've come to the end here. You can take a screenshot of this or scan this now if you haven't already. It's been awesome hanging with you. Great presentation. Sorry I cursed, even though I tried not to. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.